Right then, a bit of transfer news. We mentioned it, of course, last week. Michael Olise looks like he's on his way to Bayern Munich, who are looking to pay that £55 million release clause to Crystal Palace. Chelsea are in the hunt, Manchester United as well. But it looks like it is the Bundesliga will be heading. A great player, Gab. Great addition to the squad. But when you look at this Bayern Munich squad, you weren't thinking, wow, what they need is more attackers.
No, and I'm sure you probably have a graphic you'll be putting up, or maybe you've put it up already, about all their attacking options. Oh, look, like magic. But I think the reality is if you take a closer look at that group, right, you're talking about those names really to fill 4 slots. Well, then go through it a little bit, and you've got Thomas Muller, who, let's face it, is 34. He's going to be 35 next season. He's got a year left. You've got Leroy Sané and Serge Gnabry, both contracts expiring in 2025. I don't think it's that easy to make a call. I don't think Bayern are actually going to keep both of them for the simple reason that one of them's always injured and the other one's really inconsistent. You've got Kingsley Coman, another sort of long-term injury concern. You have Harry Kane, now in his 30s. At some point, you got to think succession. You've got Matthijs Tel, great player, but he's still a kid. Did he show you enough last season? So you put all those things together, and I can see why, especially if they think it's going to take Olise maybe 6 months to a year to fully adapt. Brian Zaragoza, different thing. I think that experiment might have come and gone. I think he's going somewhere else. So when you dig a little bit in there, I don't know there's really that many guys that the club are saying, yeah, we're really counting on them.
I've just got visions of Harry Kane now saying to Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, just get behind us. When we finish 45 points behind Leverkusen, support us.
That's what we want, a cheerleader.
We just don't criticise.
No, just don't.
But yeah, that's it's an interesting move, great move for the young man potentially. Big pressure on him. Gab's right. There's been some inconsistencies within these forward positions, these wide positions. If you think back a couple of years, it was Hudson-Odoi was going there for 30 million from Chelsea. In his career, that move never happened. In his career, sort of has spluttered along. But for young Olise, yeah, I mean, going in, Sané has been so hot and cold. Coman, as Gab said, has been injured. I think Matthijs Tel at times has looked really good coming off the bench, but has struggled for consistency. So yeah, I mean, the previous manager, Thomas Tuchel, he piped on about the other end of the field all season, didn't he? The holding midfield role and the centre halves. He had big problems at the back. So let's see how that pans out. But look, what they've done is they're signing a very, very talented young player. Mm-hmm. How much game time he's going to get, I think, will be dependent on, who's still there, who's fit, and how it's all going to work out for him, which we don't really know under Vincent Kompany.
Speaking of talented young players, Nico Williams, of course, was man of the match in Spain's victory against Italy. And as it is with major tournaments, you perform in a game and all of a sudden the whole world is talking about where you could go. Nico Williams, of course, currently at Athletic Club. Got quite a low buyout clause, however. He said he was committed to stay in the Basque Country, Gab. But we've seen others sniffing around, the likes of Chelsea and Barcelona.
Yeah, so it's funny because he came out and he said something along the lines of, well, I'm not thinking about that. I just recently signed a new contract. Yeah, a new contract with, 55, 60 million buyout clause. If you're not thinking about leaving, why have your agent put that buyout clause in the contract? I think those two teams that get mentioned, Barcelona and Chelsea, let's face it, those are the two teams that always get mentioned. They also seem to me like two teams that have an abundance of wingers at their disposal. And also two teams that I think have some profit and sustainability regulation or equivalent issues. So to me, this smacks a little bit of the people look after him, seeing what the interest is out there, seeing what the possibilities are. Never hurts to link Chelsea and Barcelona to you. And then see if something else comes out of the woodwork. There's no question. He's a phenomenal talent. Maybe he won't be playing every game as well as he did against Italy. But, he's got time on his side. And he might decide, look, I want another year at Athletic Bilbao, grow a little bit, and then I could really go and pick my slot. Because there's no question he's worth more than his buyout clause.
Can I slightly digress into some dangerous ground here with Gab?
Oh no, it's financial fair play and
yeah,
but we don't need to. Look,
no, but it won't take long. But he mentioned profit.
Scotland are out, but you need to drag everyone else down.
No, because Gab mentioned profit and sustainability. Is there any truth? And I just want to know this. It's not anything to do with the Euros, but as we're talking about Chelsea and other teams, is there any truth in the rumours, Gab, that these clubs, some of these clubs in the Premier League, are buying and selling these basically youth team players to each other for inflated prices to try and get round these profit and sustainability rules?
Well, I mean, if that is what they're doing, they would say, well, we're applying, we're playing within the rules. We're sticking to the rule of the game. What you're talking about is obviously something along the lines of the Juventus scandal. To my knowledge, that hasn't actually happened among Premier League clubs. People are flipping out over the fact that, Kellyman, who's hardly played, all of a sudden moves to Chelsea or is on the process of moving to Chelsea for 18 million. And that obviously helps the books. Now, if somebody from Chelsea were to move the other way for the same amount of money, or even for that amount of money plus, say, 17 million, like maybe Ian Maatsen, then, might people raise a stink about it? And I think what we saw in the Juventus case and elsewhere, if you're talking transfer values, those are subjective, and it's really hard to prove one way or the other. In Juventus's case, they actually, had notes and phone conversation, and they tap people's phones where they're saying, yeah, let's inflate the value. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but yes, let's inflate the value so we can, and do this swap so we can do this and that. I don't think they're going to have that for Chelsea and Villa. So it's just going to be a case of people saying this value may or may not be inflated, and Chelsea or Villa saying, no, it's not. It's in line with market values. Certainly 35 million or whatever it is for Maatsen, I don't think is inflated. Kellyman, we'll see.
Meanwhile, if you were Nico Williams, what would you do, Frank? Obviously, it's one game, but we know what happens at these big tournaments. He's riding on crest of a wave at the moment. Do you stay at Athletic Club, as Gab says, grow for another year, of course, won the Copa del Rey with them last year, or do you look to make a move?
It depends the club that you're aiming in your career. I mean, if you want to go to Chelsea, knowing that they're not going to play the Champions League, it's up to you. I think you have to see the whole picture and think that you're not going to get injured, so you can take the risk of staying one more year to Atleti and sign for a more stable club, I would say, than Chelsea, with real targets and real options to win maybe the Champions League and play every year in the Champions League. And we don't know where Chelsea goes, and I think Nico Williams is aware of that. So I think it will wait for hopefully for him, we're going to get better and better, and Spain's going to go far into the competition, and we'll have not 2 clubs, maybe it'll be 10 clubs trying to get him, and it will have the choices, and that would be fantastic for him. But if he only has Chelsea at the end of the tournament, I would be first very surprised. But you have to think twice before making that move, because you know that the kind of occurs for strikers for some years right now. So you have to make sure that's the right move.